it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today it is the first official video for my bake date series. I was asked last couple of times that I've done some baking videos if I would do some more regular ones, so that is what we are doing. So today we are making some shortbread. I love shortbread and I love making it and I love eating it even more, but it's a really simple recipe to do, and so I thought I would share it with you. So we got here some plain flour, some semolina and some sugar, and also we want some butter as well. Okay, so let's get baking. Okay, so let's weigh out some of these ingredients. So I like to work in pounds and ounces. So I need to weigh out 6 ounces or 175 grams, if you work in grams, of plain flour. There we go. So we just pop that into my bowl. And then I want my semolina, and I need 2.5 ounces or 75 grams, and you could use ground rice if you have that instead. And this is just to give it some of the texture. There we go. So then we're going to just tip that in with our flour like so, and then we're going to weigh out our butter. So I want 6 ounces of butter, and you want that at room temperature. You don't want it too hard because you're going to have to knead this in. So nearly lost that. Just a little bit more. Now too much. Come here. There we go, perfect. So that's our 6 ounces of butter. That also goes into our dish. Now while I've got the scales, I'm just going to weigh out the sugar now, but we don't want to put that into our bowl yet. So we need to have 2.5 ounces of Castor Sugar, or the 75 grams, I think that was, yes. Okay, so that's our sugar, so we'll just keep that to one side until we need that in a bit, but that saves us weighing it out later. So we've got our butter and dry ingredients other than sugar all in the bowl. So now what we want to do is knead this all together. Okay, so I like to tend to sort of grab the drier ingredients, rub it together like that so that you get the butter evenly mixed into those dry ingredients. This is kind of the same technique that I would use for making, say, a crumble mix or something like that, but obviously the quantity of butter is much more, so you're going to be a lot stickier. So you can see now it's starting to kind of stick together, so we just want to start kneading that all in. So then just put that into a bit of a ball, and then we're going to get my sugar. So you can see it's a really easy recipe. I mean, there we go. So we got a nice ball of mixture. Don't overhandle it because you don't want it to get too warm. So then what we're going to do now is actually make this into the shortbread shape. Now what you would normally do is sort of get a rolling pin or whatever and sort of roll it out all nice and tidy, but I can't be worried with that. So I'm just going to get a little bit of butter and just putting that onto the surface of this dish thing I've got here, and then I've got a piece of parchment which I have done to size. So So then I'm just going to take a little bit of this, there's any left in here, just a tiny bit of that flour, and just put it over the baking sheet as well. And I'm just going to very lightly just squish out my dough. I don't want to be fiddling about too much. I've just got a little thing here to roll it a little bit to help. And if you've got a nice fancy rolling pin, you could use that. Just making sure the edges are nice. This stupid thing makes a lot of noise that I'm working on. So you want to go not too thin, maybe like a centimetre thick or something like that, because if you go too thin it won't be like shortbread, but if you go too fat it will just be like really doughy. And I just want to make sure the edges are nice. Okay, so now what I want to do is just crimp the edges with my fork. So I'm just using the side of my hand as well, just to try and sort of round off any edges. And this is what gives it that traditional shortbread look. So all we've done is we've just taken our plain flour, Castor sugar, some butter, and if you use real butter you get a really rich shortbread flavour, and then your semolina to give it that kind of crunchy texture that you get with shortbread. And then we're just popping some little holes in the top. This will help it when it's cooking. And there we go. So we're just going to let that chill for a little bit in the fridge, and then we're going to, so maybe out 10 minutes in the fridge, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven, a preheated oven at 160 for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. It kind of depends on how thick it is, but you'll know when you see it what the colour, you know, whether the colour's right. So just have a peek after about 30 minutes. If it needs a few more minutes, leave it. I guess it all depends on everybody's oven. So I'm going to put this in the fridge, so say for about 10 minutes, and then in the oven, and when that's all done I will come back to you and show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's been in the oven about 40 minutes now, so I'm going to take it out of the oven and we will see how yummy it looks. Doesn't that look delicious? Oh, yum yum yum. Okay, so what you want to do now is to cut it into the slices, so they're your little triangles, while it's still warm. So I'm going to cut across that way. Oh look, spare bit. And then I'm just going to take my oven gloves so I can twist this around, and then I'm going to cut across that way. At this point it's up to you whether you cut it sort of down the centre and have 8 rather large pieces, or you could cut these into 3s and then have your 12 pieces. Let's cut one there and then one there. That one's a bit small, isn't it? And then slightly off to there. Okay, and then what you want to do before we move it is just to take some Castor sugar and sprinkle that over. Or you can use normal granulated sugar if you prefer. And what you'll find is that while this sort of cools down, that sugar will just really nicely go into your shortbread. So then what I like to do is slide it off with my paper onto the board there, so that I can get rid of this and not accidentally catch myself on that, because the glass can get very hot otherwise. And then you want to just very carefully just loosen these pieces, and look at how lovely that looks. Oh, yum. Okay, so there is our finished shortbread. Doesn't it look yummy? I can't wait to try it. It's just a real proper lovely shortbread consistency. As I said, you can do it as thick. You've got that lovely golden end. I love that kind of typical fork mark, and yet it was so easy to make. So that is it. I hope you have enjoyed this month's bake date with Lolli. I hope you have a go at the recipe. I'd love to hear what you think, and I will see you again next month for this, and obviously sooner for the craft ones. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.
I'm talking about you and me. What do you want? What do you see? And where is forever residing? The girl's gotta make her peace with a man to understand things. Clear out the way, the drive of the day, darling. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Well, it's about as new as last year's rain pouring down from the sky so high. And you get used to knowing everything about each other, so you don't ask why. Oh, but you better not forget or reclaim